I'd like to call the business meeting of February 23rd, 2021 to order. The Pledge of Allegiance this evening will be led by Sebastian River High School's Navy Junior ROTC under the direction of Lieutenant Commander retired James Landis and Master Sergeant U.S. Marine Corps retired Michael Hussey. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Colors. Ready? Up. Colors. Colors. March. Out. Colors. And salute. Ready? Salute. Out. March. Right. Face. Forward. March.
Before we begin the formal meeting, I'd like to welcome our deputies. Sheriff Flowers, welcome. I'd also like to turn it over briefly to Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd ask everyone to join me in taking a moment of silence. COVID has once again struck one of our bus drivers, who's 80 years old, Gladys Schenk. Began working for us in 2016. Enjoyed and loved what she did at 80 years old, to have the opportunity to interact and engage with our students. Unfortunately, earlier in this school year, she passed away. So I just ask everyone just for a moment of silence and acknowledgement of her and prayer for her family. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Are there any do any of the board members want to move anything from consent to action? Hearing none. Dr. Moore, are there presentations this evening?
Absolutely. We do have a number of presentations. We will begin our presentations with Star of the Year Gala, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Maddox.
Hello and good evening, everyone. It seems a little strange to be talking about the gala video right now because I feel like it was months ago that we celebrated our Stars of the Year. But this is our highlight video from our gala, which we're proud to say we continued on this year. We brought it outside this year. We dealt with some wind challenges and various other things, but I really think everyone had a blast and that it was a great job of honoring all of our teachers and employees of the year.
Employee of the Year comes from Vero Beach Senior High School, Rebecca O'Donnell.
I feel super excited. I'm completely shocked, but I'm so thankful to be part, of a wonderful district and be named Vero Beach High School's Employee of the Year. I know I serve other schools, but since day one, they've always made me feel welcome, and I love helping the teachers and the staff there. They're an amazing group of people.
Our Teacher of the Year comes from Storm Grove Middle School teacher Caitlin Harris.
Shock and a feeling of just, I'm blessed. This is what I was meant to do. This is where I was meant to be. I feel like every step that I've taken has led me to this point, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my family and my friends at work who just support me every single day, and it's amazing. I'm over the moon, truly.
So Rebecca and Caitlin, they're now in the competition for state. They've submitted all of their paperwork, so we have our fingers crossed for them. And I would just like to thank all of our local law enforcement officers for pitching in. I had a really crazy idea like 2 days before the parade, I think, when I sent out a frantic email to Sheriff Flowers and, Chief and everyone else, and can you guys come? I have this great idea for a parade, and of course they were there as usual, so thank you again. And tonight, our next presentation is our Shining Star Awards, our individual Shining Star Award and our school Shining Star Award. So we were notified at the beginning of February that one of our teachers was selected to serve on the NASA Eclipse Educator Advisory Board. And that is Melissa Sleeper from Gifford Middle School. Mrs. Sleeper, would you come on up, please? So Mrs. Sleeper was selected from more than 160 highly qualified educators from across the nation who applied for 20 positions. She will be reviewing and providing valuable feedback on newly created resources, such as Eclipse videos, student-produced spotlight videos that confront science misconceptions, and lessons that accompany these videos. So, Mrs. Sleeper, you've done some amazing things for our school district and, of course, with the NASA program, and I just think you're a really super cool science teacher. Been in your class, and I know the kids agree. So thank you so much for your service to our students in our district, and we would like to make you our Shining Star for the month.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you very much. This is a big change from when I first came to the school district at Indian River. I couldn't get a job. I was told I was too science-focused to work in elementary school.
Wow.
So I switched to middle school, and I've been there ever since. And I enjoy working in Indian River County, and I'm really proud of the fact that science has become much more of a focus for our school district. I would be happier if they hadn't taken it out of the strategic plan, but I'm happy that science is a focus of our school district now. But the real shining stars are not just me, it's my colleagues. And all of my colleagues who go to work every day and work with the kids. I used to think that the year my school burned down was going to be the year I remembered the most in my teaching career, but it's definitely this year, the year of continual uncertainty, the year where we feel like we're in Groundhog Day every day, because every day we get new students in our classrooms. Every day our class roster is changing because kids are being quarantined or have COVID. So it is a very challenging year, and this was really a nice gesture. Thank you.
And we have our Shining Star Award for Mrs. Sleeper. There you are. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Mrs. Sleeper, we sent something to Mars, right? Our students.
Oh, yes. I can't let that go to pass. Last week, we had a very important landing. Perseverance landed on Mars, and this is an unprecedented landing for us, and particularly for Gifford Middle School. We have approximately 160 some odd students' names aboard that rover. It is the second time we have sent student names to Mars. So we have about 300 children's names on the InSight, which is a stationary robot that is located on Mars. And then we also have students whose names flew aboard the Maven, which is an orbiter going around Mars. So we can truly say we have out-of-this-world students.
We're going to save our pictures for the end so we could do them all at once. So Mrs. Sleeper, please don't go anywhere. Not the end of the meeting, the end of presentations, don't worry. For our next award, we have our Shining Star School Award. And this month, when we were asking everyone to submit different ideas and different projects they were doing at their school, programs they were having for Black History Month, we had a lot of really great submissions. We advertised those on our social media outlets, and we honored a Black History hero each day that was provided to us by our local NAACP chapter. Thank you again very much for the information and for those photos. But one thing stood out, and I realized when the reporters started calling asking for interviews, hey, this is pretty cool. So I would like to ask Mrs. Whitfield to please come up to the podium from Sebastian Elementary School. And Mrs. Kolstad. And they are having a Black History Month program with a local artist, Mr. Jamal Hayes. They have invited him to The Nest at Sebastian Elementary School tomorrow, and they will be doing a gallery-type walk with their students, and then Mr. Hayes will be speaking to all of them. So I think you've already been interviewed by Hometown News, and I just think it's just a really great and interesting program that you're doing. So for that reason, we want to present you with the Sebastian Elementary School Shining Star School Award for your efforts in promoting your program at your school and your school this month. So thank you very much.
We would like to thank the Academy. No, I asked Mr. Hayes to come up with me and Mrs. Kolstad, my assistant principal. On behalf of the students, parents, and staff at The Nest, we thank you for acknowledging our awesome students and staff. We are enjoying bringing the vision of the School of the Art to life. We came before you last year to tell you about our vision for transforming into a School of the Arts. And we are fortunate enough to be able, under the direction of Dr. Moore, thank you, to be able to bring that to life. So we thought, what a better way to do it than to show diversity within the art. And we have local artists. We've partnered with the local art, cultural, where do we get that name? The local artist here. And we have Mr. Jamal that we are going to honor tomorrow. And also we have a sculptor coming that we will be presenting as well. So they will be talking to the students, showing them their art. We'll be talking about what it takes to be an artist. And we thought, why not show a diverse hometown artist? And so that's why we have Mr. Hayes that we're honoring tomorrow. So we thank you for allowing us to bring print to life and to the canvas. And we invite you to come out. Let's see, Dr. Moore is doing our welcome. But we will be on Facebook Live if you want to catch it. But Dr. Moore is doing our welcome, and Dr. Jones is judging our contest. So we will have a school-wide contest. Our fifth graders, however, will be presenting to her their canvases. We bought a little, if you don't mind. I hope the 3-minute song doesn't come off. We got to brag on our students. Our fifth graders conducted a Freedom Fighters quilt. And tomorrow you will be judging their individual quilts, and what they're going to do to you is they researched the person, they found a quote that spoke to them, and then they made a quilt from the quote. And what you'll see is you'll see their creative artistry around the quote. So you're going to judge that for us tomorrow. And we thought that we just put a plug in for the fact that we're transitioning into our art and to show you how we do incorporate that into our academics. So, Ms. Kolstad? We're going to switch. I'll be Vanna.
We were setting up for our gallery today, and we came across this, which was really neat. We see this in the classrooms daily. But basically, a third grade class, I have to give her credit, Miss Vito Hill, with her classes, took a African-American artist, and basically, it's an artist that is famous in the Detroit area, and he was known to change an urban area into an art gallery. So what they did is they had their individual houses, they incorporated fractions, area, perimeter, measurement, so really made the math visual through art and learned what the multicultural thread also. So this is something that we are proud of, that we see. We have a lot of work to do, but we are very excited to be recognized for what we are doing now as a school. So thank you very much.
Oh, okay, all right. At the end of.
And thank you, Mr. Hayes, for taking the time to come out here tonight. I know it was short notice, but it means a lot for you to be here, so thanks again. On February 5th, we celebrated a very important day, and that is National Crossing Guard Appreciation Day. And a couple of years ago, Mrs. Rosario brought that to our attention, and we started really just amping that day up because we celebrated last year and we ended up having the State Crossing Guard of the Year, Miss Tina Marie, right here. And this year we went back out again, and all of the schools brought little favors to their crossing guards, and we took pictures. Dr. Moore was out in the corner of Oslo and 20th with our crossing guards. They were getting us safely across and back. So we just love to take time to recognize them every day because they really are the unsung heroes who just make sure that our kids are getting to school safely every day, and they're getting back home from school. Because as we know, not everyone can drive their kid to the curb of the school and drop them off and say bye. They have to put them on their bike or allow them to walk, as I did to VBE when I was 7. And they depend on someone else to get them there safely. So to all of our crossing guards, thank you so much. We have a special presentation for you tonight, and we have some certificates that we would like to hand out. So we'll call you up by name. And if you would please take your certificate and go back behind the dais and just stand underneath the School District of Indian River County so we can get ready for a picture. Okay. From Indian River County Sheriff's Office, Lewin Cox. Lewin, are you here? Okay. Annette Coppersmith. There's Annette. And we have a special lapel pin for everyone that says Safety Hero on it. So we hope you can wear it every day and remember that you're our safety heroes. There you go, Miss Annette. Rocco Margata. No? Oh. Wayne Vanata. I'm getting the signal. Nope. Alan Zarrett. Catherine Gardner. Oh, Catherine. Hello. Thank you for your service. Crystal Ramos. Thank you, Crystal. Richard Dusenbear. Richard, did I say that right? Dusenberry. Yes. Oh, it's close. Thank you. I practiced. Peter Fermato. And from Sebastian Police Department, Barbara Farquhar, Dorothy McHugh. I hope they're watching at home and they hear their names because we'll make sure we get these and their pins to them. Charles Yates, Terry Lavardi, Leslie Walsh, Roy Johnson, Tina Marie Alfredo, and as I was saying, Tina Marie was our crossing guard of the year for the state of Florida last year, so we're very proud to have you on our team. Julio Colon, Bill Laverty, Ralph Vasquez, I'm happy to see you're wearing your reflective shirt. Thank you. Representing well. Harriet D'Arienzo, Paul McClinchy, Kate Daniels, Nancy Forst, and last but not least, Anthony Tomasi. So let's give a round of applause to all of these people. And tonight we also have with us here is Lieutenant Abolo. Bolo, is he here? No? No? Okay. Sheriff Flowers, of course, we recognize you once again. Thank you, newly elected Sheriff Flowers. And Captain Timothy Wood. No? Would you all say your names, please? Hello. Hi. Hi. Thank you for being here tonight. All right, now we're going to get our picture. All right. Board members will do all the pictures now. We can just get up one time. So, Fashion Elementary School and Sleeper School. I don't have my mask. How about everyone open them? There we go. How about tonight? Just like Miss Tina Marie.
Kristen, they have to get up early. Let's go.
All right, ready? 1, 2, and 3. One more. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, we're not done. Shining stars.
And last but certainly not least, thank you, crossing guards. Thank you, law enforcement officers, for being here tonight. We have our Casual for a Cause organization that we raised money for this past month, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And Chrissy Nana could not be here tonight, but she sent us a short video clip to thank everyone for their fundraising.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chrissy, and I'm the Campaign Development Manager for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Hero Squad program, formerly known as Pennies for Patients, for the South Florida region. I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you in person, but we are so grateful for the continued support of LLS through Casual for a Cause. The mission of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is to cure leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and myeloma, and improve the quality of life of patients and their families. LLS has invested nearly $1.3 billion into groundbreaking cancer research, and more recently funded 56 of the 66 FDA-approved blood cancer treatments since 2017 alone. This would not be possible without the generous support of school communities just like those here in Indian River County. I also want to share with you the impact you are helping us make on a local level. On April 1st, 2020, LLS launched the LLS COVID-19 Patient Financial Aid Program, which provided $250 to eligible blood cancer patients experiencing financial hardships due to the pandemic. This program provided just over $152,000 to over 600 patients in the South Florida area to help offset non-medical expenses such as food, rent, and other household expenses. Additionally, I want to thank the schools in Indian River County that are participating in our Hero Squad program so far this school year. Hero Squad is a 3-week SEL-fueled service learning program that is grounded in what LLS knows best, science. This program connects schools with local blood cancer patients, just like Melody that you see here. She just graduated from Beachland Elementary last school year and is currently in 6th grade, and now a cancer survivor. It's a program that provides tangible life skills to participants and allows students to see the difference they are making in the lives of others. We know how much of a challenge this school year has been, to say the least, but we are so appreciative of the principals, teachers, and students that continue to support our Hero Squad. Thank you again for this opportunity. Because of your support, we are one step closer to a world without cancer. Thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy. And this month we raised $2,962.14 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And our top fundraising school, I thought it was highlighted, is Gifford Middle, nope, hold on. I'm just keeping everyone on their toes. Storm Grove Middle School, congratulations. And Dr. Moore, back to you.
Thank you. We do have one more presentation, although it's not on the agenda, but I thought it was a appropriate time to highlight because it speaks through our partnerships with the county commission and our ability to work together to make things happen for our kids. So I'll ask Mr. Bass to quickly set this up.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Moore. I am truly excited to unveil an opportunity for our student athletes. Our middle school student athletes has just transpired here very quickly. And I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Barenborg to give you the details.
Thank you. And I appreciate your help and Mr. Seymour's help this week. And of course, Dr. Moore. Received a phone call last week from a county commissioner, Commissioner Ehrman. We go way back. Our boys played baseball together all through the years, and he still umpires in our middle school games. And he brought forward an idea that maybe our middle school boys could be training or having games over at the Jackie Robinson Training Complex. And he wanted to make that happen. I found out, he called me because there was a snag with paperwork. I called him back, said, thank you very much, I'll work on this and get it done, but how about the girls? So we made that happen as well, and our softball teams will also be out there. So I'm very excited about that. The JR Sports Program Manager has tentatively agreed to allow girls softball and boys baseball to play out there for February 25th, March 2nd, March 4th, and with the contest finals on March 13th. Short turnaround for girls softball, but principals are working to have a regular season game played on Thursday, February 25th. And hopefully that's going to happen in 2 days. And baseball has been prearranged schedule between the middle schools, we're working on that. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of you that made that happen so quickly. It was a snag. I know a coach was involved, and he was frustrated because the paperwork wasn't moving. And I think, you know, that's our job as board members, is when somebody says, you know, can you help us with this? We know who to call. And thank you for taking care of it so quickly, Dr. Moore, Mr. Bass, and Mr. Seymour. So we appreciate what's great for kids, and I'm really happy that the girls are going to be out there as well. Thank you.
And that concludes our presentations.
All right, well, congratulations to all those recognized for their good work on behalf of the district. Now call for a motion to adopt the orders of the day.
I make a motion.
Mrs. Rosario, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Berenborg, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vote carries.
Mr. Barefoot,
Yes.
with our consent, have we approved yet? We just approved, correct?
No,
that was
that's
just the
next.
orders of the day.
All right. I'm jumping
After-
ahead. Go ahead.
After citizens' input.
Thank you.
As you'll notice, I have some coaches here, and I can use the coaching. All right, the next item is citizen input. And I will read for the record. The public may offer public comments by appearing in person. Such persons will be placed in the meeting room subject to space availability. Additional attendees will be placed in areas outside the meeting room and invited into the meeting room at the appropriate time. Alternately, the public may offer public comments by emailing comments to the following email address: Citizens Input, February 23rd @indianriverschools.org. All public comment emails must include a completer's speaker's form available in fillable and PDF formats. All emails must have completed and attached must be completed and attached to the meeting and will be appended to the meeting minutes. The public is advised this email address will be used solely for obtaining public comments for the board meeting and should not be used for other purposes or questions. Persons may only speak once about any given item consistent with School Board Policy 0169.1. And I will remind those who speak that there's a 3-minute duration, and I will recognize the speakers in the order in which the requests were received. Persons may speak for up to 3 minutes at the beginning of the business meeting during citizen input. The time period may be extended by the presiding officer, and only the individual submitting a speaker's form is allowed to address the board. Time may not be yielded to other speakers. And I would also remind the audience that this is an opportunity for community members to speak directly to the board. When concerns arise, community members are always encouraged to contact school principals or district staff to resolve any concerns as quickly as possible. There are no email been received tonight. We have 2 individuals that would like to speak. And the first is Jennifer Pippin.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Pippin, and I always start with, this isn't my first time here and certainly won't be my last. So it's been 347 days since it was just 2 weeks to flatten the curve with the virus. 347 days of decimated small businesses, 347 days of moms birthing their children alone or going to ultrasounds alone because their husbands or boyfriends couldn't be with them because they were at a higher risk for COVID. 347 days of our elderly passing away alone, 347 days of depressed children, many of which are still virtual in that time. I've spoken to a couple of pediatricians locally. They said that they have written more antidepressants in the past year than they have in their entire careers. And a lot of that is trickling down from schooling because our children are still masked at school. Our children are still being quarantined and not having any instruction when they're quarantined. Some children have been quarantined 3 times. My daughter's been quarantined twice. Let me tell you something. Missing 4 weeks of school as a freshman in high school, it's detrimental to their career and their schooling. Now, some people are saying we need 2 masks, 2 vaccines for a virus. Here in this county, our current survival rate is 97.6%. For a vaccine that is not even FDA approved. So my question today, and I've been asking it since school, before school started, I spoke to Dr. Moore. When does it stop? Teachers of your district have been vaccinated if they wanted to get vaccinated. So every time we were given a point, it was saying when a vaccine comes available, when this becomes available, when this happens. And again, I'm asking you today, when are we going to stop quarantining healthy children to go home with no instruction? When are the masks going to stop? Or when are you going to get into a system to where we can start making them optional for our children? Please, I want this answered today. It was the lawsuit that was holding it up before. There's no more lawsuit. We're not filing an appeal. Please, can you give us some answers? The parents want answers for our children. We also are fighting for the teachers that no longer want to wear masks, the staff members that no longer want to wear masks. It's not just the students. Thank you.
The next speaker is Chris Allen.
Hi, my name is Chris Allen, and I'm an Indian River County resident. On 2/18, the New York Times wrote an article that said, critical thinking, as we're taught to do, isn't helping fight the fight against misinformation. So this right here kind of tells you what the plan is. They want obedience, and they don't want critical thinking, because critical thinking would make you realize the type of manipulation being performed by the CDC, which is what you guys are passing down to the students. You know, this all started out with 2 weeks, and then 1 month, and now we're almost at the 1-year anniversary. It started out with no masks required, then 1 mask, and now the CDC recommends double masking, and some news even go as far as say triple. Fauci first said that things wouldn't be back to normal until later in 2020, then fall 2021, then Christmas 2021, and now he and Biden say as early as 2022. And let's not forget Birx, who told you not to visit your family last holiday season during Thanksgiving, when she herself went behind everybody's back and visited her own without masking. Moving the goalpost is a form of manipulation. I've seen it done to my friends, and it's happened to me before. As soon as you get close, CDC, Fauci, whomever, they just change it. And again, you know, you have to use critical thinking to kind of realize these types of things. So something else that was with science, you know, there is no always a settled thing. Like if we didn't question science, people would still think we would have flat Earth. People wouldn't know we rotate around the sun, because back then it was just a different type of thinking. You know, something else that doctors recommended in the past is smoking, especially when you're pregnant. Another one is, here's another advertisement, no flies on me thanks to DDT, which is something my father-in-law had sprayed on him. Asbestos and heroin, hydrochloroquine, I think. So these are all things that back then were settled science, and people question it, but nobody seemed to care. You know, it's, how do you go from 1 mask to now wearing 2 to 3? I mean, it's ridiculous. Does that not imply that the first one never worked in the first place? Is one not good enough now? You know, it's, oh shoot. See, if mass science was conclusive, then why do so many studies prove otherwise? And those studies, or at least some of them, their conclusion is to just wear masks more strictly. There's a quote from Albert Einstein about repetition. It says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And in science, that's something that you want to avoid in general. Thanks.
That concludes citizen input for the evening. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. No items were pulled, so can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
A second? Dr.
Second.
Jones? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Barefoot?
Yes.
Before we go on, I just wanted to point out that there were donations that we just approved, and I'd like to thank Vatlin Automotive Group, Sebastian Home Depot, Mr. and Mrs. Ernest White, the Ed Foundation for the Step Into Kindergarten program, and the LJ Foundation for donating to 4 of our different programs in schools. So we appreciate that.
Wonderful. Thank you. We now move to the action agenda, and the first item is approval of appointment of a citizen to the Indian River County Metropolitan Planning Organization, the County Citizens Advisory Committee for Transportation, and an alternate for this voting position. We have 3 candidates. I know. I wasn't, all right, I wasn't going to present it, but I was just going to name the 3 people. Mr. Luther, Mr. Marsh, and Mr. Burnaby. Mr. Marsh would like to address before we proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, School Board, and Superintendent. Just would like to put a name with the face. I'm Michael C. Marsh. I've got to serve this county in a few different capacities. I was the Little League coach here for the IG Center years back. I also got to serve as your county PTA secretary, where my goal was to make certain that every PTA was included and that every school had a PTA, whether that was the alternative school or Beachland. Also, I got to serve at my daughter's school, Osceola Magnet School, and thanks to the principal at the time, Principal Scott Simpson, we put together the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Sounds pretty cool, huh? It's like superheroes. And the idea was getting more dads part of the PTA. Because when I joined, I looked around and I was the only one there. It was kind of fun. And my goal was I wanted to get not just dads to be a part of PTA, but the #1 time you saw these dads was at the Donuts for Dads event, which was near and dear to my heart. And in 2019, I got called in. I thought I was in trouble because I'm a very vocal individual. And Principal Simpson, along with the superintendent at that time, awarded me and awarded Osceola Magnet. We had the most dads in the state of Florida to attend Osceola Magnet School's Donuts for Dads event. Last 2 items real quick, and I don't see a timer going, so you guys gonna let me talk 33 minutes, or? I'm just kidding. Last title I hold is I'm a proud father to my 2 beautiful little angels, Serenity and Trinity. And I always like to show them that, you know what, no matter what stance you take, you better speak up in life. And I want to leave you with this. No matter what happens tonight, I don't need a position to fight within the school district as far as items that I want to see take place. And I look around, and not just now, but for years, why aren't we packing this place? Why aren't not the teachers, the parents? This is such an important meeting. And I never understood that. So now, no matter what takes place, that is going to be my goal. Because at the end of the day, you can complain, and no matter what side you stand on, come in here and voice your concerns because you have the platform, you have the ability. And it never made any sense to me why I don't come in here and there's not a line outside. These are our students' futures. And we, as parents, are the strongest advocates for our students. So no matter the decision tonight, obviously I want you to pick me. But going forward, that is a goal that I want to see. And I just want to leave on a positive, because I like to say that I'm a solution waiting to happen. Transportation means a lot to me because my beautiful oldest daughter had a situation on the bus, and I just want to applaud the way the school district handled it. Immediately when I reached out to one of the school board members, and I don't know if it's proper to single that person out, but I would say I want to thank that particular board member. I got a phone call well after 5 o'clock at night, and I appreciate that. And when I got to speak to Mr. Seymour, and forgive me, but you got such a big title, I don't know what you do, but you do something very important here. And I gave him 3 things I wanted answers to, and I said, I'll hear from him next week. And I got a call immediately from Mr. Seymour. That's the proud district that I like to serve within. As well as Dr. Moore, I placed a call into your office and thanked them, because let me tell you something, it's so easy to complain, but let's also applaud those members of the school district of Indian River County when they're doing great work. And I like to finish, because I got my last little minute here. I also serve, I have a not-for-profit here called Team Success Enterprises, and our mantra is this, and that is, I am, you are, we are, Team Success. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. So as I mentioned earlier, we have 3 candidates, Mr. Luther, Mr. Marsh, and Mr. Burnaby, who is applying for the alternate position, I understand. So are there a nomination?
I make a
I have a
nomination. I nominate Michael C. Marsh as the volunteer for County Citizen Advisory Committee for Transportation.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second for purposes of, there, and I believe there's another nomination as well?
Yes. I nominate Mr. Luther, and thank you, Mr. Marsh, for your words. They really struck with me, thank you. And just looking at all of these applications, I thank everyone who has applied. Anyone who wants to do any volunteer work, we thank you. I just saw that Mr. Luther has been in the county for many, many years. I had the pleasure of working with him when I was Sebastian River High School principal, when he is with the Sheriff's Department, and I believe he also serves right now on the MPO right now, and I just think that his experience in the Sheriff's Department and just as a realtor right now would be very beneficial to the transportation that we have in the county.
And is there a second for Mr. Luther?
I'll second.
So we have 2 nominees, both nominated and second. So the first person nominated was Mr. Marsh. So I will call for a vote for Mr. Marsh. All in favor of Mr. Marsh?
Are we discussing?
Yeah, we should discuss.
We need to
Okay,
discuss.
Yep.
I nominated Mr. Marsh because we do a lot of talking in this district about diversity and inclusion. And I think it's about time that we start walking the walk. Mr. Diversity and inclusion, really, there's a long spectrum to what that might include. And I think that Mr. Marsh quite honestly fits that bill. In this particular case, he could be a representative, not just a community advocate, but also a parent to serve in this capacity. I think that he has the passion and the drive to serve the district. I think that he is more than willing and able and capable. I'm not trying to take away anything from Mr. Luther. I know Mr. Luther, and I know that he has served in this capacity, in this position, I think twice, two terms, if not more than that. I don't know how far back he goes before I became a board member. But I think it's about time that we have a change, that we have a different voice serving in this capacity. The increased desire of Mr. Marsh to continually serve the district is something that we should take note of. As board members, we're constantly wanting parents to get involved, and this is an opportunity where we can get a parent to get involved. I think it is well worth it for all of us to step out of our comfort zones, our comfort area, and I'd even be interested I'm not even sure if we could do it, if Mr. Luther was interested in the alternate, give Mr. Luther the alternate and give someone else an opportunity to step up and do what they are passionate about within our community and for our school district. So I don't think that you would necessarily need experience in transportation to be in this position. It's a volunteer position as a citizen. So in that capacity, obviously I support Mr. Marsh, and I want to thank you, sir, for your desire to serve, not just here, but I know that a couple weeks ago, last week, you were interested in serving on our equity committee as well. So thank you for your desire to continue the progress in our district.
Can I speak?
You certainly may.
First of all, thank you for your passion and coming out here, being very respectful and willing to put your name forward twice now. I think the reason why I was leaning towards Mr. Luther is because he has been in that seat and he knows it well, and I think that's an important thing for this. I would like to do the reverse and put Mr. Luther up and you as alternate to get that experience. But I also think that there's another place for you in our district as well. I think that there are going to be other opportunities where, as a parent and a passionate person to help our district, I think we're going to be able to find those opportunities for you. So I don't want to turn you away because I know your passion. I think sometimes, you know, I look down at 2 resumes, and of course, thank you for coming in and being a face with a resume. And when you see somebody that has that experience over somebody else, you tend to go towards that because you know that person has that experience and can do that. Do I think you could possibly do a good job? Yes, but when you're comparing those 2, I lean that way. But I would like for you to consider being alternate if that's the way it goes, because I think that that would be a great way for you to move into that. Okay, thank you.
Dr. Jones, can I ask you again to review what you said about Mr. Luther, at least for my benefit?
Sure. He's not here to speak for himself, but just looking at his resume and application. Again, I knew him when he was Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Department. He's been here since 1955. He's now in real estate, so obviously knows the property and where things are heading and where we're going to go for growth and so forth. He's also, again, when I dealt with him as principal, he's just one who has, really communicated well and so forth. I just think because of his history here, it would be a benefit. And I agree with Ms. Berenborg regarding Mr. Marsh. There are situations where we're always looking for volunteers, so I thank you for being here.
Anybody else want to comment on any of our interested parties? Well, I will call for a vote, and I believe the proper procedure is the first person nominated is who we poll first. And Mr. Marsh was the first person, so all those in favor of Mr. Marsh, would you signify by saying aye?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
So the vote is 1 in favor and 4 against, which is not exactly true.
No.
We're against. It's just that in this particular case, one of the other candidates seems to be preferred. So I will ask for a motion, a vote on Mr. Luther. All those in favor of Mr. Luther signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
All right. So Mr. Luther has been selected. Mr. Burnaby is only interested in the alternate position.
Can we ask if Mr.
And
Marsh is
so the
interested?
question is, for you, Mr. Marsh, would you be interested in serving as an alternate?
Yes, sir.
Can then I make a motion that we vote on Mr. Marsh to be an alternate?
You certainly may,
I do.
and you just did. And can we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Ms. Rosario, second. Is there any further nominations for an alternate? We don't need to have a vote, but all in favor officially for Mr. Marsh to serve as an alternate signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Let me fill in all the paperwork here before I forget. All right. There are no other action items on the agenda. So the next action item is the chairman, or Dr. Moore, our superintendent, if you have anything you would like to report.
No presentation this evening.
Thank you. Is there a board member? Mrs. Barrenborn?
Yes, I attended zoning and planning last week, and we have another meeting come up and another meeting come up. As we discussed this afternoon in our meeting that we talked about master plan and more building that's going on in Indian River County. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And it's interesting because it's not just one preferred cost of building. You know, when we heard today, you know, well, it might be retirees coming down or it might be young families. It is a diverse amount of building and at different levels. So it's quite interesting what's happening. So our meetings are really ramping up. I've been working with Eric Seymour, again, Eric, thank you, and the executive roundtable. When I served last year on the roundtable, I brought an idea forth to have a fundraiser golf tournament to benefit Kids at Hope, and it would help our school district as well as the community. And seeing that I wasn't still on executive roundtable, I asked to still be involved in that. And we're happy to say that we do have a date for our tournament, so please write it down. Information will be going out to Ms. Maddox very soon. But basically, it's October 30th at Sebastian River. And exciting, we have grand prize hole of $40,000 if you get a hole in one. So it's going to be a really nice tournament. We had some really cool ideas that are different than some other tournaments, so we're excited about that. And it will, again, benefit our kids and our schools, so we appreciate that very much that they're getting involved in that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other board members would like to speak? Dr. Jones?
I've been on the Fellsmere City Council Zoom meetings, and they're always great to listen to, great people up there. I was at the Vero basketball game where we lost in the regional quarterfinal. It was tough, but the kids had a good season, and thank you to Coach. As Ms. Whitwell said, I'll be judging some art tomorrow at Sebastian Elementary at the Nest. MCAN tomorrow with Mr. Barefoot is one of the speakers, and FSBA has luncheons with new board members. They've been very informative. I'm part of the Wilson Scholarship Fund for Bill and Billy Wilson, and the committee met for the first time on Saturday. They will be giving a scholarship to a boy and girl at both Sebastian and Vero Beach High School starting this year. I think we're going to call it the Unsung Hero Award, so they were very excited about that. And that's with all the money they collected for Coach and Mr. Wilson. And I guess thank you to all of our school teachers, our support staff, our district staff. I think about this when I think about my nephew who's in Chicago, Illinois. He hasn't started his kindergarten year yet because of COVID. They haven't even begun. They're on e-learning in kindergarten. And I know we began with 3 options here. It wasn't easy. District staff made sure that the teachers had the information they needed to have for the 3 options we have for our students. And again, just a special thank you because it's been a very tough and challenging year. And I know everybody's been working hard under these conditions. Thank you.
Dr. Schiff or Mr. Rosario, anything?
No, sir. Thank you.
The only thing I would like to do is thank my fellow board members. I thought the discussion this afternoon about the early learning pre-K was about as fruitful a discussion that I've participated in, not just here, because there haven't been that many of them here that I've participated in, but And I don't think I realized, and I was somewhat aware, as I said this afternoon, because of my tangential involvement with child care resources, but I don't think I realized how many pre-K children there's not room for. In some cases, that may be by choice, but the waiting lists are long. And this is something that we've got to figure out, because whether it's, I mean, it's a pathway to success. You can't start, and I say this having a new 3-month-old grandchild, but also a 19-month-old grandchild that my wife just got back from Boston on Sunday and was telling me what it was like to be around a 19-month-old who, you know, knows colors. I mean, it's really interesting. And now her mother's a high school guidance counselor, and her father's a successful town manager in a town outside of Boston. So the home life there's a big emphasis on that. But this is something that we really got to, if it wasn't at the top of the priority list, and we have a lot of priorities, it's got to get there quickly, because it benefits everybody. And we talk about the African American achievement gap, as was pointed out this afternoon. It's a good place to start. It'll take several years to close that gap, because you're talking about, you know, from cradle to 5-year-olds, kindergarten. But it's we've got to figure out. I don't know what the answer is, but we've got to figure out a path to get much more of these young people in an environment where they can improve their learning, their reading, their literacy, all of the things. So I would like to thank all of you for my education today. There's really nothing else on the agenda. Dr. Moore, would you like to give a closing comment, or are you pretty much worn out for the day?
No, I leave today very, very encouraged, and it was, as you said, very good dialogue that pushes the expectation we collectively have, as well as pushing staff to respond and create the systems and structures around that expectation. So I think today was a model board meeting day in terms of the dialogue, the conversation, and the efficiency and respect that we had in conducting that dialogue.
Well, a very efficient meeting. Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned at 7:03.